Hey y'all. I got caught up in oh no. Is it doing something weird? God damn it. I got caught up in this video that I'm going to show you guys. Hold on. I have the air purifier thingy on. It's the only thing that's blowing cold air right now, okay? Should we flip this? I feel like I'm always off center, but if I move this camera, we have issues. Hold up. Okay. I am kind of right about everything. I'm just kidding. You know how I always say I hate body language experts. Let me know if the audio is bad at any time. Just like spam me with twos. I hate body language experts so much because they don't know shit. But I'm in a bunch of different groups for severe mental illness. No, not because of me. Okay? Not because of me. And there's one that I'm in with a couple older ladies. And just out of curiosity, I texted them and we're like in this big group chat and they hardly answer because they don't know how to use fucking phones. But I was like, if you had to pick one famous or broadcasted case on anything in the world that you've seen on YouTube that you are like 1000% sure, like 1000% sure that the defendant or whoever has schizophrenia, put it in the group chat. And I checked back a couple hours later and we all said the same person. And so I pulled up a video just now because I was like, I have to watch this again. I hate body language experts because every single thing about somebody getting a severe mental illness, even something like dementia, changes everything you thought you knew about why people look up to the right, why they look off to the left. Are they lying? Are they sweaty? It changes everything. Yes, bro. We can hear you. Thank you for the super chat. Keep your girl off OnlyFans one shit at a time. This should be fun. Let's fucking go. Yeah, this video right now is not for the faint of heart. Feel free to click off for a couple minutes if murder or graphic detail freaks you out. Anyway, I pulled this video up and I'm like, that looks exactly like my family member. Everything about it. And it's kind of red pill related because all the girls are like fawning over this dude. I'm like, every single tick, every single blink, every single head nod, every single thing. I know this man has schizophrenia. Now, if you have schizophrenia, that doesn't mean that you're a violent, horrible criminal, okay? But sometimes, unmedicated, some people have a propensity to violence. It just, sometimes the brain makes you do bad things. I have to say that because there's a big, I don't know if it's a stigma, I guess, that everybody who commits a crime has schizophrenia, but then also people can't differentiate when they deserve capital punishment, jail at all, versus a hospital because they haven't really dealt with it. Unless you know somebody. Complicated subject. Anyway, I want to pull this video up because I want all of you to memorize this dude. So in case you're ever in a situation, you're like, hey, I think that guy needs crisis. Okay. Okay. I can't get over it. And just the way that the story, like his dad's account for it, I was like, I know this man has schizophrenia. And then they go back to like, oh, so did you get something about like he was put up for adoption. I was like, oh my God, here we go. Here we go.
Good morning. Please state your name for the record.
Stephen Testa.
Mr. Testa, where are you employed?
I'm self-employed.
What type of work do you do?
Window and door replacement.
Are you married?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your wife's name?
Melanie.
Do you live in Fort Myers?
No, ma'am.
What city do you live in?
Lakeland.
About how far is Lakeland from Fort Myers?
2 hours.
How old are you, sir?
46.
You know someone by the name of Wade Wilson.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know Wade Wilson?
He's my son.
How old were you when you found out you were going to be his father?
14 or 15.
How old was his mother at the time?
A year younger than me.
Now, were either of you in a position at that age to be able to raise him?
No, ma'am.
Was he placed up for adoption?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was he adopted by?
Candy and Steve Wilson.
And did they have any connection to you or Wade Wilson's mother?
You mean?
Like how did they?
Oh.
How were they known?
Oh my God, I can't
They
look
went
at
to
this
church
man.
with Wade's mother's
Spitting
parents.
image.
So that was how they connected and ended up raising Wade Wilson.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do they have any other children?
Yes, ma'am. 2 daughters.
And have you spoken with them on numerous occasions?
I've spoken with Candy.
And that's his adoptive mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, at some point, did you and Wade Wilson connect?
Yes, ma'am.
How old was Wade Wilson when he connected with you?
18.
And was he wanting to connect with you because you were his biological father?
Yes.
And up until that point, had you ever met him?
No, ma'am.
Literally, I don't know what the hell it is. Okay. The person that I'm related to had obsessions with every single person, relative in the family, would call them up, show up at their house, people that my mom didn't even talk to anymore. You know, when you have like beef, literally shouting things about money. This person didn't have a job for years. Just like, Donald Trump owes me millions of dollars. Can I get money? It's just so like, I can't even explain it because I have a very emotional voice, but it's so dead. Like so dead. I don't know. Okay, I'll shut up.
Did you end up attempting to have a relationship with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he seem to want to have a relationship?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did you have phone calls often?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have occasions where you would see each other?
No. I went up and visited him one time in Tallahassee.
Okay. Now, did he often ask you for money?
Yes, ma'am.
Did your relationship turn into a situation where he was just asking for your help?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to turn your attention to Monday, October 7th of 2019. Did Wade Wilson get in touch with you through phone call that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was it that he told you when he called?
The first time he said he needed help. He had done something that he couldn't take back.
Pay attention to that.
Did he indicate that he and his girl had gotten into an argument?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was his girl that you were aware of at the time?
I just knew her as Mila.
And did it seem that he wanted your help because of this argument?
Yes, ma'am.
When he called you, were you actually at work?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to really give your attention and time to him to try to help him at that point?
No, ma'am.
So what did you tell him when he was asking for your help?
I just told him to call me back around dinner time. I'd be done working and we'd figure it out.
And did you at some point have a conversation with your wife about him getting in touch with you wanting your help?
Yes, ma'am.
I cannot get over the eye movements and shit. Like, I feel like you guys tell me. I feel like you guys will see, or this way it seems like when I watch crime stuff and go to the comments, it's like there he is no remorse. And I'm thinking to myself, they have no remorse over anything. It's like really not in their control like people think it is. The concept of not saying that they don't deserve to be locked up. Okay. Easy. I'm just saying they had no choice. Like if somebody commands you to do something, you're hearing it and it sounds like dad or whatever it is, or it sounds like God a lot of the times, which is crazy to think about. It's like they are on autopilot. It's wild. Okay.
Now, during the time that he was supposed to call, about what time was he supposed to call back?
I told him around dinner time.
Now, between the time he first called that day and dinner time, did you receive a call from a detective?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that detective looking for your son?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when the detective was looking for your son, did you have any idea at that point of what had happened?
No, ma'am.
Of course not.
Did the detective want you to try to help them get in touch with your son?
She just gave me a number and said, if he calls you back, we need to talk to him.
Okay. Now, did he end up calling you later that evening?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he tell you in that call that evening?
The final call?
Nope, the call before the final call.
He just told me, he did something. There was 2 people gone that would not be back. He said, I'm a killer.
I want to say something too. Don't be surprised. I don't remember, and I just watched this. Like, people that do suffer from delusions will say stuff like that and repeat it nonstop. So your initial reaction, well, when I would first hear that shit, I would literally drop the call and like bolt to go figure what the fuck, and then find out that it was like not real. They're shouting at some other people, making 2 crazies out of us. Just kidding. Okay, just kidding. But like a lot of people might be like, oh, he told you and you didn't do anything. And it's like it becomes like patterns. It's weird.
I just told him to.
The way that his hand is right now, I can't. I'm not trying to make light of something. It's just like, of course, during this phone call, he's like whispering something to the lawyer. And it's probably delusional.
Call me back. I just thought it was another.
And he's, oh my God. Like, I can't. Like, literally, there's like this fake voice that I don't know if it's a common thing. But I know it's a thing for some people. It's like they will almost turn their voice to be somebody completely different. Like, oh, will you please get me something? Blah, 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 blah. And because they know that you're afraid of them in some regard, because they kind of talk in an excited way. It's kind of alarming. So they'll like flip their voice and you're just like, and when you're like, no, they're like, they go exactly back to it. And you're like, this person's a fucking psychopath. Just saying. Love you.
Story,
So at this point, when he
like,
says
that's
that,
what it looks like to me.
there were 2 people that wouldn't be with us, and that he was a killer. Did
Freaking me
you
out.
put a lot
I'm triggered. Can you tell?
of weight into that?
No, ma'am.
Do you think he was just telling you a story?
He's a good storyteller.
So did he then
Interesting.
call you back a 3rd time?
Yes, ma'am.
What time did he call you back?
It was around 10 o'clock.
I want to go back to that dinner time call. When he talked about these 2 people who were no longer with us and that he was a killer, did he show any type of remorse?
No, ma'am.
So let's go now to the 10 o'clock call. Again, your wife knew about kind of what was going on during that day.
Yes, ma'am.
And when he called back at 10, did he go into more details about what he had told you earlier?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's start with the first girl. If you could tell the jurors, what did he tell you?
He just said he met a girl at a bar. They went back to her house, hung out for a little bit, and then she fell asleep.
What did he say happened after she fell asleep?
He said he got on top of her and choked her.
What name did he call her?
Bitch.
Did he refer to her in a derogatory term?
He said, I choked that bitch.
Okay. And what did he say he did after he choked her?
He said he stayed in the house for a little while, and then he rolled her up and was going to try to put her in her trunk, but he couldn't lift her.
Did he say why he was unable to put her in her trunk?
He said that he felt like rigor mortis had started to set in.
And
That would have blown my mind. Like, I just put myself in this situation because when it hits you, or when somebody does develop something, it's usually like 18. And you're probably like, oh, rigor mortis. It's like a common thing. Is it though? Is it though? It's like, it's just always so strange. I remember when they first started having religious delusions, and it was like, how are you reciting shit from a Bible you don't own? And they had crushed all phones and electronics. So it was literally the brain. I've seen the brain do some crazy shit. So, like, hearing this is horrible. But, like, oh, so he said he noticed that it was rigor mortis. It's just like wild. It's like to somebody that doesn't really watch the whole thing. It's just, it looks so different. Sad.
does rigor mortis make your body stiff? You didn't
I
know?
think so.
So he just told you that that was the reason that he couldn't lift her and get her into her trunk?
Yes, ma'am.
And when he said her trunk, it was the trunk of her car he was going to put her in?
Yes, ma'am.
So what did he tell you he did when he couldn't get her body into her own trunk?
Pay attention to the words.
He left her there and took her car.
What did he say about the second girl?
He said he saw her walking down the street and stopped and asked her for directions. And she got in the car with him.
What did he say happened once she got in the car with him?
He said he reached over and choked her.
And did he tell you that he choked her while he was driving?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what did he say happened after he choked her?
He said he was looking for a place to put her body.
Did he find a place where he eventually dumped her body?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he tell you about the situation when he got to the place where he was going to dump her body?
He said that he pulled her out of the car and realized that she was still breathing.
So what did he tell you he did when he realized she's still breathing?
He said he got back in the car and ran her over until she looked like spaghetti.
So it with horrible. Like horrible. But that to me sounds like a hallucination. So I know it's a horrible thing. God bless. Like literally horrible. But I don't think I think she died the first time. I don't think she was fully aware. I think they thought they were breathing, which it's like, I guess that doesn't matter that much, but I feel like it does.
As he's telling you all these things, what's his demeanor as he's telling you?
He was excited.
Excited. Like, I know what he means by excited. My dad uses that language too. And you think excited, like cheery and shit. It's almost like they're manic. Manic would probably be a better word. Like, almost like pressured speech. Very loud, shouting, clear. But it's almost like they want you to shout with them. It's a strange phenomenon. I don't know how to word it.
You say excited. What do you mean by that?
I felt like he was wanting me to feel the way he felt about it.
Did he seem proud of it?
Yes.
Did he seem to show any kind of remorse?
No, ma'am.
And was he able to go into great detail about both of these ladies' deaths?
Yes, ma'am.
It's like proud is such a strange word to use. I know it sounds so like stupid. This is helping me with my writing, so it's like proud. It's irrelevant. It's always that. It's like normal. I say normal, but people that don't suffer from any sort of psychosis or anything, it's like the word proud is like something you've accomplished something, you're like really excited about it, like you're proud that you graduated school. And so I hear her ask like, oh, he was proud, and it's just like not. You know how I always say there's this whole, it feels like there's this whole world that I don't know how to articulate. Like that's part of it. It's like it's like, yeah, but no. It's like, I get why she's asking it. She's asking it because they want to make it clear that this was intentional and stuff. And although, yes, well, would they have done it without the psychotic disorder, whatever, psychosis, any of that? No. 100% no.
The second girl that he killed and left in the slot, did he think that she would be found?
No, ma'am.
He seemed to think he did a good job hiding her body.
Yes, ma'am.
They don't care.
Now, the whole time that he's telling you these details, is your wife hearing any of these details?
I had the phone on speakerphone.
Now, prior to him telling you these details, how did you feel about turning him in to law enforcement?
I initially wanted to help him.
Did you feel conflicted about giving him over to law enforcement initially?
Yes, ma'am.
At some point when you're talking with him,
You're probably like, what the fuck? Why would you? It's like part of us. It's like, okay, we're parents and we want to protect our kids at all costs. But then the other side of you is like, no, if my son was going to murder somebody, I'd call the cops. And there's that dichotomy. But I think like there's like another part where it's like, you know for fact that this is like a mental health crisis, but because two people are dead, it's like, yeah, you have to turn them over to police. And it's like, it seems like just such an obvious thing. It's not. There's something about giving your child up to law enforcement and you know that they're going to get worse in jail, I guess is like one way to put it. It's like, you know that people in the courtroom don't get this shit yet. You know that the jury, they're the thing like proud, the word, I sound crazy. It's like, you know that people don't get it. It's like, should you feel sorry for them? Yeah, I think you should, actually. Normally, I'd be like, no, like, I guess fuck it. But when we do that, these insanity cases are not getting through. And I think if we know what solitary confinement does to somebody without a psychotic disorder, it's like, now you're going to put, I don't know, hot take.
did that feeling change?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
I just thought, what if that was my mom or my daughter or sister or wife? I would want somebody to do that.
And did you have additional concerns of what might happen if you didn't turn him into law enforcement?
Yes, ma'am.
What was that, sir?
He would have done it again.
Now, after he's telling you all these details, do you know where he's at when he's telling you these things?
I just knew he was in a house that he broke into when he was running from the police.
Did you know the actual address of this house he broke into?
No, ma'am.
Now, when you were talking to him and you decided that you needed to give the information to law enforcement about his whereabouts, how did you get that address from him?
I told him I was going to send him an Uber and I needed the address of where he was.
Were you actually going to send him an Uber?
No, ma'am.
I was like, whoa. You're like, what? Tori, what the fuck? Rue, we're not doing peanut butter. No. Come here. Sorry. I might have to get up in a second, but what you want, honey? But the Uber thing, it's just so fascinating because it's like it sounded like he was 18 when he called his dad in this whole fiasco, so it's hard to tell. But like, I know my family member had their license at 16 and then got caught driving without the lights on, in a psychosis and stuff like that. But it's like, I wonder if he got his license taken away or did he never get it? It's just like little details. It's like, it just sounds so heartless. And it is, but come here, honey.
And so when you told him that you were going to send him an Uber, did he give you that address?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you then do with the address he gave you?
My wife was messaging.
Like completely, like that's a part I forgot. It's like this guy just murders two people and he just gives you the address for the Uber. Absolutely not there. It's like somebody's like, I'm not going to call somebody and rely on them. Somebody with like a capacity, whatever. I'm not going to call somebody. I'm going to do this stuff and be on with it. But it's like, that's how out of it they are, I guess. It's just so bizarre.
With the
Come here, Rue.
officer.
Now, is your wife messaging with the officer during the course of these details that he's telling you?
The last part of him.
And so she's relaying what your son's telling you to law enforcement.
Yes, ma'am.
Giving them further details.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, again, this conversation you're having with your son is on October 7th, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
In the evening hours? And was it your understanding that him going to the bar and meeting the first woman happened the night before?
Yes, ma'am.
So at this point, when he's giving you all this information and you're giving this information to law enforcement, had the second girl's body been found?
No, ma'am.
And did it strike that? Now, that address you said your wife then gave to law enforcement.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you remain on the phone with your son?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you on the phone with him when law enforcement showed up at that house?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you encourage him to go outside and turn himself in?
I did. I didn't want him to do anything stupid and end up getting killed. So I just told him to put his hands up and just go outside.
I have nothing further and tender this witness. Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I do have one more.
Okay.
Do you see your son sitting here in the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
And would you describe an article of clothing he's wearing?
Dark suit.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that the witness is identified. Actually, if you could just give it a little bit more description since there's other people.
White shirt, blue tie, dark suit.
All right, Your Honor, at this time, I'll let the record reflect that the witness is identified.
Okay. Any questions?
Just briefly, sir. When you were on the phone,
Yes, sir.
he told you he was hiding out from the police in that house.
Yes, sir.
How often had you spoken with him before?
It was sporadic. one month it may be every other day, and I may not hear from him till he needs me again. 6 months, 2 months, whatever. It varied.
All right. Nothing further. Thank you.
That's always so crazy to me. Ow. Like, that's how it ends. It's like, that was your defense? I want to, like, watch the whole trial. It's been stuck on my brain. Let's crunk. Is the same. Ooh. With the current society, how would you differentiate the mentally ill people with no morals from others? I don't know. I think about this question a lot, though. A lot. Like, if their eyes look dilated, it's not always drugs. Which is like, that's your reason. There's something about it. I don't know. It's like you're actively psychotic. But like I said, it doesn't mean that you're, like, you can be a moral person and have schizophrenia. But, like, the issue is that there's people that have insight, and then there's people that don't have insight. If you have insight, you look like a, oh, this mic. It's like if you have insight, you look like everybody else, just living their life and shit. But if you don't have insight, you would, like, it's like you have a higher propensity to, like, not have morals. No. Oh. No, but the illness. Because I have such a hard time trying to describe this shit, something that's been easy for me is to, like, split the illness from the person. Would they do this if they didn't have that problem? If that's the way you want to look at it. And it's like, if you would say no, then they probably should be put in a hospital over jail or something like that. I don't know. I think about it often, though. Like, I'm 100% confident, like 100% confident that people who think that they know what evil looks like, I'm 100% confident they don't. Like, certain. But then when I say the thing about the pupils dilating, they're like, I've noticed that. And they look dead inside. And it's like, that's one way to look at it, but I see them as ill. Like, it's pointless. It's pointless to have which this is going to probably piss people off, but I'm trying to say it objectively. It is pointless to have a trial where they get found guilty. Like, yay, they will be held responsible. They have no idea what's going on. Literally none. Absolutely none. They don't think it's them. They think that it doesn't even have to be like that. They think that, let's say in this case, that those women were going to harm him. And you're like, well, what the fuck? It's like voices can sometimes be bad and say, kill them. Kill them. They're after your family. Kill them. Shit like that. So they kill them. And then you're like, why'd you do it? It's like, are you proud? That question from before. It's like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? Does it make sense? It's like, I don't know. Hello, welcome. That's why I like don't believe in evil. Good and evil doesn't exist. It's like, Tori, what the hell? I mean, if it helps you in life, if praise is good and keeps you motivated, then use it. People say they have moral, yet always compromise them. Excuse me, Tori, are you born again? Jesus loves me. Okay. He understands. Mm. It's like we could easily tell. Like, I can tell somebody's religious, and then I can tell somebody's mentally ill and religious. And you're like, well, isn't that kind of fucked up? Isn't that kind of rude? And it's like, well, is it rude if the religious statements come out like I am the Messiah? It's like, oh, we get it. Oh, you can't be the Messiah, you know? It's like there's little things in our speech that kind of indicate when it's like religion at the wrong time. It's the only way. And you're like, what the fuck, Tori? I don't know. Okay. It's same family. Okay. I don't have the words either. They did a study actually, which is kind of funny. I think about this literally every day. And it was a cross cultural study, huge study. Huge. Okay. Huge. Thousands of families with at least one kid with schizophrenia. And what they found was in every single family that they had observed, talked to, whatever, there was always one other person. There was always one other person in that family that was like a little odd. They weren't full blown odd. They were just like a little odd. Those were your shamans, okay? And your witches. That's how it, in my opinion, the gene. Well, I shouldn't say that. I won't make that claim. Never mind. I finally grew a pair of balls to watch the Galvin family documentary, which I downloaded some app to watch it. I think it's HBO. I'm not sure. Where's my phone? I don't know. Honestly, I hit too close to home, so I like never wanted to watch it. And man, I'm on episode 2, and I'm like, 6 brothers came down with it out of like 12. That's insane. Because we always, like, the research always said that it's partly genetic and then it's partly environment. It's like, I was like, I wonder why 6 would come down from it. And then it dawned on me, yeah, because they watched somebody going mad. It's traumatizing. But there's been other things, but I'm just listening to it. I'm just like, damn, what do you do if you have so many kids? And then one of their, let's say your like older brother develops it. Should you be in the same house as them? It puts you at risk. It's hard to say for 100% if that's what caused it. There's other factors. But environment is it's so fragile. I don't think people are aware of how fragile it is. Not to like scare parents, moms in particular. I don't mean to scare you, okay? There's medication to help, okay? It's not like a death sentence. It's just essentially if it runs in your family, there's like 2 genes. I don't know how to explain this that well because I'm not a fucking scientist, but this is like the TLDR version. You have like 2 genes, family member with it, okay, the close, immediate family, whatever. And then there's this guy, and this guy, you gotta meet like 5 different factors before the age of like 15. Okay. I'm sure we all have been there. Okay. Wild drug choice binge. You do MDMA one time, you smoke weed one time, don't do drugs. Don't fucking do it. Okay. Not until later. After 25. Thank you. It's like, okay. You and your best friend break up in high school. Like, and then you don't make the varsity team for football. And then it's like fucking Russian roulette terrifies me. And you guys wonder why I don't want kids. I would if my child even threw a stuffed animal of a horse, I'd be like, are they developing it? I'd be terrified. And then I would probably develop it because I'm the vulnerable one. I'm laughing, but it's like, I've seen too much shit in my life, guys. I don't think I could do it. I think I would go mad. And that's embarrassing. So be nice to the people. Be nice to the people on the street who scream some weird shit. That's somebody's son and daughter. Okay. Don't feed a delusion. They might say wild shit. Don't feed it. Ask them how it makes them feel or acknowledge it. If so-and-so has like, I've heard the craziest shit. Like, it's always a president. God has injected me with, not actually, but like injected me with something that's killing me and my whole family. Instead of being like, whoa, how do you know that? Say something like, that sounds really stressful. Is there anything I can do to help? And just listen. It's like, that works. Yeah, it does. You're welcome. Try it out. Like, she wasn't wrong. I was shocked the first time it worked too. With bleach. Sorry, quick question. What's the best bar club in Vegas? Going next weekend with my buddies. Ooh. Omnia, if you've never been there. There's usually somebody big who's playing. I forget who the resident DJs are there. Wait, we're in summer. I take that back. Fuck Omnia. Okay. That's a big rounded one. Ooh. Go to a pool party for sure. Wet and Republic, baby. That's a good one. Even the Win. What's that day club called? It's been a minute. That one's fun, but I think it's kind of pricey. Like Wet and Republic's like the one you go to. Everyone's nice there. Thank you for the memberships. Woo! What's your verdict? Insanity or death? I don't know. I think about that often. It'd be hard to know if they suffer, but I mean, it kind of looks like that. Could you imagine screaming at somebody you don't know if they're there or not? Some people have insight, some people don't. If they have insight, trying to decipher, is this the illness or not? I mean, it is. It sounds and looks the same as if like your mom comes in the room. You know how sometimes you don't sleep that well and you think you hear mom and dad in the kitchen type shit? It's that constantly. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's almost like uh, at that point, I don't know. I mean, getting the insanity thing, people think is, I've heard different things, like if somebody gets granted insanity, okay, he was found not guilty for a reason of insanity, people go fucking nuts over this shit. It They've been stuck in a jail since that illness came over. It doesn't matter where you put them at that point, quite frankly. Um, but when we like violence at certain times, right? Somebody beats up a girl, her brother goes and beats up the boyfriend. We like that shit. We're like vitriolic, you know? We want them to feel remorse, but the reality is they won't. That's a hard concept. So I don't know. We don't have enough. We don't even have asylums. I think per state, there's one state hospital. It's not enough. I would make the claim that 75% of people in jail should probably be in a hospital. Sad. We're not there yet, but I cannot wait for Neuralink. Wonder if I haven't really looked up Neuralink in a minute. Do we know when that shit's coming out? You know, they used to treat the mentally ill with a lobotomy, which is like crazy. Like go in the front and snip. It's all connected and they snip parts of it and they might be more docile, but it stop doesn't stop it, you know? All I'm saying is I would hate to go smoke something and never come back. That's sad to me. I'm thinking of living in Vegas 4 months a year. Do it. It's hard to find housing out there. It's always booked up, so maybe you get a good Airbnb a couple years in advance of ready to go, but it's very hard to get housing, especially without a Nevada job. You're like, well, I'll just work remotely. I'm telling you, that's how I ended up homeless. Okay, be careful. No, I do not have education in mental health. I say death. He was easily communicating with his lawyer in there. So I don't get it. Shrinks don't solve anything. They want the insurance companies to pay them to keep the profession running. Yeah. I mean, you have the right to refuse medication. And if you don't know that you're sick and you're paranoid, why the fuck would you take any medication? You should. Okay, it's there to help you, but you know, I don't fault them for not wanting to take it when you think people are poisoning you. You know what I mean? Makes sense to me. Most of the time, something interesting to think about is most of the time, not most of the time, there's the amount of self-deletion attempts before somebody gets hospitalized is pretty fascinating. They're more of a danger to themselves than they are to the public. I've heard convicts say prison ain't that bad. I've heard that too. That's what they keep telling me. Free meals and shelter. They party and shit on Fridays. You know, you got your friends, your cliques. It's probably like being in high school again. Humans are really adaptable. People are corrupt. They probably get free shit on the outside put in there. I don't know. If you get a Neuralink, you may as well get a lobotomy. You think so? I don't know if I don't think I see it the same. If Neuralink comes out, hell yeah, I want it. Oh yeah, was Wade Wilson on any drugs or drunk? Was that ever determined? He was at a bar, but if anything, the only thing I've noticed is that the delusions or hallucinations, you know, they're clearly talking to somebody, gets more prevalent. They're more manic. Come home and all the furniture's gone. They brought it uphill 6 miles down. So they got superhuman strength, okay? Put them to work. I'm just kidding. That's not mean either. But like, they're strong as fuck. Like, I want that same energy because I'm tired of your bullshit. Love you. Okay, girl, I'm coming. I know I was gonna do a call-in show, but I got Rue yelling at me. I'd have to go and come back. My psychiatrist tried to tell me that I need to be medicated for manic depression and psychosis, but he is literally just trying to ruin my life. Follows me around too. Have you thought about getting a new doctor? I've gone through doctors I didn't like, and I ended up finding one that I liked. Takes a few tries, though. But I understand. I think it's possible people don't understand themselves. I don't think people want to be in jail. Yeah. We want to, I mean, one of our freedoms is to roam, right? Freedom to move, and it's got to be hard, but there's something I'd rather hear that they're in jail than on the street, if I'm being honest with you. So but it's like, at what cost? Torsia dead serious? What? It's 6 deployments. Whew. And severely damaged by PTSD and survivor's guilt. I ended up addicted and homeless. I lost everything. I just made the decision to give myself permission to heal. Life is good. Isn't it kind of fun when you're homeless? People are very afraid to hit rock bottom. I know, I've been there, but there's something really liberating about it. It's like, damn, fuck, I don't have an idea. I'm gonna need a fucking mailing address at some point. But you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it right now. Nobody's calling me. Can't pay for my phone. But everybody who if I needed to call somebody, I have their number memorized. At least it's not that bad if you're in Vegas. Okay, Chicago might be a different story. I picked up what you were throwing down. Easy. The point is If our position is always forgiveness, it teaches people to test just how far they can go before they are punished to a point they don't want to be punished again. They would have done it regardless. You know, I hear this all the time. People are like, well, if people, if we absolve them of responsibility, they're just going to keep doing the bad thing. And I'm just like, no, they were going to do the bad thing regardless. And then the people that don't, they don't. You know what I mean? Okay, my mother is calling me now. My dog is barking. My mic is going out. Like the video, comment, subscribe. If I didn't answer your comment, put in the comment below.